Hello and welcome to this screencast on the use of a mnemonic to make decisions with regards to which inferential stats tests to use. Remember, we're talking about inferential stats tests which are used in OCR A-level psychology. Okay, so sometimes students find this very, very difficult to understand, and this particular table here is just really to make sure that this is much easier for you, and you can use this at any time, just to remind yourselves of what particular stats tests you would use in any situation. Okay, so let's see how the table works then. So the first column here is the level of measurement column. Now, if you remember, one of the questions which is asked of you when you're making decisions about which stats tests to use is the level of measurement, what type of data has been used. Okay, and if you remember, there are three types of data that we use in psychology. There's the nominal level of data, categorical data, the simplest type. Ordinal data, that data which can be ranked or put in some sort of order, usually from a rating scale or that sort of thing. And interval data is things which data which has been directly measured using a scale with equal measurements upon it. Okay, so level of measurement is going to be the first one. And what we've got here is them going from the simplest to the most complex. Okay, so that's a way to remember it. Nominal, ordinal, interval. On the row at the top, okay, we then need to make a decision about what particular experimental design we have used, or we need to determine what that is. Okay, so there are two types of experimental design which are useful. Match pairs doesn't really come into this, so we just talk about these two. There are independent measures design. So if you remember, independent measures design is when you have different participants in each of the conditions. It tends to be one we try to avoid, although it can be very difficult to do that in psychology. So that's kind of I suppose the simplest one in a way. Maybe you could think about it that way. And then there's repeated measures design. So obviously repeated measures design has its problems as well with regards to order effects, but it's probably preferable, isn't it, to this one if we possibly can have it. So repeated measure design is that one. And the last one that we need to think about is, well, are we looking at a correlation? Now remember, a correlation is when we're looking at the relationship between two or more covariables. Okay, so independent measures design, repeated measures design, and correlation. And on the that's on the row. And then on the column, we've got nominal, ordinal, and interval. So we simply need to ask ourselves a question, don't we? What type of data, what type of measurement do we have in our particular investigation? That's sometimes given to you in a question, and what type of design has been used. Okay, is it independent measures, repeated measures, or is it correlation? As soon as we've got those questions answered, then we are halfway there to actually working out which inferential stats test to use. Okay, on to the mnemonic. You've probably been wondering, looking at that, why I've got the word carrots and mashed and all the rest of it there, but let me make a little bit of sense of you for you. Sorry. This is the mnemonic then, so I'll read it out loud to you, and hopefully it should start stirring up some images of Sunday dinner and that sort of thing. So carrots should come mashed with swede under roast potatoes. And again, carrots should come mashed with swede under roast potatoes. Okay, right, so why have we said that then? Well, if you look in the green writing underneath, you can see what those particular parts of the mnemonic actually equate to. So we just quickly go through this. Dead simple, isn't it? It's the initial letter here. Carrot starts with a C, and so does chi-square. Okay, so carrots, chi-square. Okay, C for chi-square, S for sign test, C for chi-square again. We can use chi-square for correlation sometimes. We don't tend to, but you know, it's a possibility. M for Mann-Whitney U-test, W for Wilcoxon, S for Spearman's row. That's different to that one, just something to remember. Okay, under, U, unrelated t-test, R, related t-test, P, Pearson's R. Now remember that these ones here are not inferential stats tests that you will have to calculate in an examination. Okay, all you need to know about these is what are the criteria for their use. Okay, and that's what this table is for. Okay, so you can see here that if you had interval data and you had an independent measures design, then you would use an unrelated t-test. If you had repeated measures, you would use, and you had interval data, you'd use a related t-test. And if you had a correlation, you were looking for a correlation, a relationship between two covariables, then you would use Pearson's R if you had interval data. Okay, spend a bit of time on that, pause the video, and I have some questions for you as soon as you come back. Okay then, right, let's have a look at this then. So I'm going to pull this away. Okay, so you haven't got that in front of you anymore. Can't go any further for some reason. Oh, doesn't matter really. Okay, so let's think about this then. So if we had nominal data and we had a repeated measures design, what test would we use? Okay, repeated measures design, I said, didn't I? And nominal data. Yep. Have you all got the sign test for that one? Yep, sign test, repeated measures, nominal data. Okay, let's try two more then. If we're looking for a correlation and we have ordinal data, what test would we use? Yep, you all got Spearman's Rho. Let's have a look, have I got it right? Yep, Spearman's Rho. And we'll just do one last one then. Okay, if I had ordinal data and I got an independent measures design, what test would I use? Ordinal data, independent measures design. Yeah, we've got MAShed. Yeah, Mann-Whitney. Yeah, Mann-Whitney U-test. Independent measures, ordinal data. Just one last time then. Carrot should come, mashed with swede, under roast potatoes. Remember your columns, remember your row. As soon as I would, if I were you, in an exam, write them down. You don't have to write carrot, just C would do. Okay, very, very quickly, just do that to one side. If you've got an inferential stats test, it will really help you. Okay, hopefully that's been helpful to you. Thanks.